conference finals appearance for the first time in 25 years and taking them to the playoffs for 4 out of his 5 years, where it was not enough for Tom Thibodeau to keep his job as the New York Knicks head coach. The New York Knicks lose to the Indiana Pacers in 5 games, and they decided to fire him. The question is, are you surprised?
Here's the thing. It's kind of like those things where it's like something unexpected, but you're not too surprised.
Yeah.
And just to quickly correct you, they lost in 6 games.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, but still doesn't cut it for Tom Thibodeau. Here's the thing with Tom Thibodeau. Obviously, I'm going to talk about the good. Did Tom Thibodeau have a successful run as New York Knicks head coach? The answer should be yes. And everyone should be yes. I know people probably bring up the argument, oh, he didn't go to the finals, he didn't win a championship. But like, realistically, only one coach is going to win a championship per year. 2 coaches are going to take their teams to NBA finals. And the thing with Tom Thibodeau is like, he at the end of the day brought Knicks basketball back.
Yeah.
Like before Tom Thibodeau, right, Knicks basketball was obviously depressing, right? And obviously before Jalen Brunson it was too, / Julius Randle as well. But Tom Thibodeau proved that he is a great coach because he took this Knicks team from what was, I guess, a biggest meme in basketball to a literal title contender and almost making it to the NBA finals, obviously falling short this year and then obviously falling short last year, which is at the end of the day, I'll still describe it as somewhat a deep run because they did go to 7 games against the Indiana Pacers last year as well. But Tom Thibodeau brought hope into New York. People might not like the way he brought it into him. Obviously, we're going to get that into a bit right now. But at the end of the day, Tom Thibodeau did get some results. And those results were playoff wins, playoff appearances, which is what the New York Knicks didn't have 5 years ago.
He is 4th in all time in Knicks regular season wins, which is crazy because he's only been there for 5 years. And in terms of playoffs, he is 5th, right? Again, 5 years. Here's my thing on it, right? The surprising element. 2 reasons why I'm not surprised. Number 1, we saw Michael Malone and Taylor Jenkins get fired with less than 10 games left of the regular season, right? So that's number 1. We've seen that kind of that surprise factor there, so that to the point where nothing really surprises me anymore in the NBA world. Number 2, that it was a lost opportunity this year. Simple as that. The thing with Tom Thibodeau as a head coach is it's ceiling. Right? And we've always seen we're going to get into the issues in a second here, but we know what his ceiling usually is when it comes as a head coach. He's a coach you bring in, set up a culture, he'll get you winning. He might not be the coach to get you to over the top and get to the championship. This is literally everything you described with the Knicks right now, right? 4 out of 5 years he made the playoffs. They didn't really have a superstar player until Jalen Brunson elevated, and even there's some arguments that he's not a bona fide superstar, but at least close to that level, at least, right? He was badly outcoached in this Pacers series. Stuff should have been different if they won game 1 and Tyrese Halliburton didn't hit that shot to force overtime and then ultimately the Pacers winning? Maybe, right? We don't know that. But at the end of the day, you had game 2 to make it 1-1. You lose both games at home. Not acceptable for me. So that's the ultimate reason why I see why he got let go. His biggest issue as a coach, we all know what it is. The minutes he plays his players, even when they don't need to be played. There's moments, I listen to Numbers on the Board pod. They have a guy named Pee-wee the Plug, Pierre, who's a big Knicks fan. And he's, obviously, I'm going to defer to him because he watches Knicks games more than we do. And he's like, there were games where they were up by double digits late, mid-4th quarter, or they were down mid-4th quarter, and he was still playing his starters, right? His starters are amongst the top in minutes, right? You know that experience as a Raptors fan a little bit with Nick Nurse doing that with Siakam, Van Vliet, and all these guys as well. At some point, the players will probably crash out, right? So that's the number 1 factor. The decision making in the playoffs wasn't the greatest. And the last reason why I think that they're like, okay, it might be time for a change. Next year, the Eastern Conference is wide open. We talked about this during our Boston Celtics video because Jason Tatum's out. They're not a bona fide contender, in my opinion, unless they make some moves. The Knicks can be that next year if they keep the team the same, and we'll get into the rumors in a second. The only other 2 teams I could think that are at the top level right now is the Indiana Pacers, who are in the NBA Finals, who won a miracle Game 1 comeback once again, and the Cleveland Cavaliers, I believe, should be still at least good, assuming no big changes happen. Question marks about what's happening Giannis in Milwaukee, and Philadelphia, we know it's the health.
Unless Toronto gets Giannis.
True, but I'm just saying at the moment we don't know what's happening. But we know there's 2 teams for sure.
It's wide open. It doesn't matter who the 3 teams are. It's wide open. It genuinely is.
Yeah.
Because this year we're like, okay, it's 2 teams and there's no one else with the Cavs and Celtics.
During the
Genuinely.
year,
Yeah, especially during the year, entering the postseason. That's what we thought it was, and that's what we expected it to be. And obviously, it hasn't happened due to other injuries or obviously just not playing good enough or getting outplayed by obviously the Knicks and Pacers. Next year, there is no one team, right? Genuinely is no one team. This year we had two teams. There's no one team next year. So obviously, yeah, it's wide open. And I understand that the Knicks are trying to like pounce on these opportunities. And the Knicks also are looking to pounce on opportunities to upgrade their roster as well.
Yeah.
Because a report came out that Kevin Durant, a deal was in place for Kevin Durant at the deadline. And I'm assuming they will pursue that same deal in the offseason as well, because Kevin Durant is obviously, the Phoenix Suns are heavily trying to get rid of Kevin Durant and rebuild around Devin Booker.
We'll definitely save the Kevin Durant talk for
that's another thing. The reason why I think that is important for the Knicks is because like if they're trying to make roster improvements and Tom Thibodeau is your coach and say you get Kevin Durant, playing Kevin Durant 45 minutes a game is not going to be a recipe for success, right? But another thing I want to take away from the Kevin Durant thing is that they're looking to change, right? They're looking to try to improve and get better. And what's the easiest and simplest way to get improved and get better is obviously firing the head coach and changing, try to upgrading your coaching. And right now with two coaches that got fired within the last 10 games with Michael Malone and Taylor Jenkins are obviously prime candidates for any job, any NBA head coaching opening. And obviously now Tom Thibodeau is going to be in the mold as well. But the Knicks have options. They have a championship head coach literally waiting, in Michael Malone. And Taylor Jenkins is a great coach himself.
So before we get into those head coaching discussions, who is potentially available, let's finish up the thoughts on Tom Thibodeau very quickly here. Tom Thibodeau, I guess, like at the end of the day, when we did our analysis of what happened at the end of the series, it's like we started using his bench, trusted his bench a little bit more as the series went on, which is the reverse factor. It's usually the opposite, right? And then that's the issue that he needs to figure out and learn. So that leads to my ultimate question here to close this whole thing out about Tom Thibodeau specifically. Does he get another job?
Well, Tom Thibodeau is qualified to get another job. He has the ability to get another job. And I think if he wants to, he should be able to get another job, because at the end of the day, Tom Thibodeau is a great NBA coach. We can't deny that. Yeah. He has results. He's taken the Chicago Bulls, Derrick Rose led Chicago Bulls to deep playoff runs. He has done that with the New York Knicks, who were a laughingstock. I describe Jalen Brunson as a superstar. You might be on the edge of it, but at the end of the day, if you're looking at your definition, he's done it without a no clear-cut top 5 bona fide NBA player.
He took Minnesota to the playoffs for the first time in a long time. As well.
So when you're looking at Tom Thibodeau, he gets results, he improves teams, he sets culture. He has, at the end of the day, he has a grit and grind, essentially, play style. And you're going to play for Tom Thibodeau. You're going to respect Tom Thibodeau. And at the end of the day, Tom Thibodeau will demand the best of you, right? Jalen Brunson didn't become a superstar until he came with Tom Thibodeau. Derrick Rose grew under Tom Thibodeau. Jimmy Butler grew under Tom Thibodeau as well. So Tom Thibodeau has the ability, and if he wants to, he should be able to get another head coaching job, because at the end of the day, he is still a great coach. He's just not a coach that gets you over the hump like we described in the beginning of the video.
So he needs to, obviously he needs to learn how to adapt to the current NBA, which is what Rick Carlisle did very well, right? Yeah. Literally, he's in the NBA Finals. They're up 1-0 as we were recording this video at the moment. So, for me, I agree with you. He should get another job. We'll see what team it is. It probably shouldn't be a rebuilding team. Maybe it could be. I don't know. It's that team at the moment where his style is like that team that's transitioning from end of their rebuild and try to take the next step. Right, so that's what I'm kind of predicting.
Essentially, teams that are looking to get into the playoffs.
Exactly.
Essentially, those are what we're looking for right now. And I guess a team like San Antonio, essentially, who's trying to take the next step.
So before we get into the New York Knicks here, make sure everybody hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. We drop basketball videos like this every time. The NBA Finals are going on, so we make sure you guys check out our predictions video that we dropped already, and make sure you guys comment down below what other topics you want to hear as we're getting into the NBA offseason and draft mode as well. So let's get back right to the New York Knicks. You already mentioned the KD stuff, which we're going to talk about later, but when it comes to the roster,
just to clarify what I was saying is that because of the interest in KD, it just gives you signals that the Knicks are open to change.
Exactly.
Which obviously, at the end of the day, this firing may be unexpected, but I don't think anyone should be surprised because if they're open to making change, they're going to be looking at head coaching as well and the staff as well. So that's why at the end of the day, like, people shouldn't be surprised it happened. But like going into these changes, and I think because Kevin Durant's available, because Michael Malone's available, that's why they did this move. Because there's such great candidates. And like right now, Michael Malone at the end of the day has to be on top of every NBA head coaching opening list, right?
Some people might think he's the same guy, but like similar mold where
But like,
he's
at least-
he's a champion.
He's a champ. He at the end of the day, the Knicks need someone to take him over the hump. The Michael Malone took Denver Nuggets over the hump at the end of the day. It may not ended well. Obviously, it clearly did not. And the relationship did not end well, and his tenure did not end well. But like at the end of the day, if you're looking at coach, the biggest thing the Knicks need to be looking for is a coach that gets the job done, gets him over a hump. Right? Steve Kerr did it when he took over Mark Jackson.
Yeah.
Right. And obviously Michael Malone did it, and that's the best option for me right now.
So,
and that's what I'm throwing out there.
Okay, so we'll stick with the coaches thing, then we'll close up on the roster here.
Yeah.
I do agree with you, but there's the thing, right? The Knicks, like when Tom Thibodeau first was hired, and I'm like, what's the point, right? Like it's one of those like recycled coaches. Is he really gonna do something crazy? Obviously, proved me wrong. I don't know about you at the time, but he proved me wrong at least, right? And you're right. They need to find a coach get over the hump. So they better not go after Mike Budenholzer. That's for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
Even though he won a championship, he had Giannis with him. He had a good team with him. I'm not saying, not taking credit away from him. He was a championship head coach. But at the end of the day, he failed with the Phoenix Suns, right? So you can't bring him in and see what happens, right? Frank Vogel's a good veteran guy. Like I said, you're already a good defensive team if you're not going to make many changes on the roster. Again, we'll get to that in a second. But I don't mind him coming in as well. I think Phoenix prematurely fired him. I think the Lakers made a mistake at the time of firing him as well. I feel like he's a good candidate in that sense. But like obviously you mentioned Michael Malone, defensive guy. Taylor Jenkins, also a grit and grind guy from Memphis, makes sense. Maybe some people think that they want a total change at a different philosophy. That's fair game as well. But there's a name that I'm seeing a lot of. I'm not too familiar with him. His name is Johnny Bryant, assistant coach, currently with the Cleveland Cavaliers, but was an associate coach with these very New York Knicks from 2020 to 2024. What does that mean? He was there for the glory days of the recent New York Knicks. What's another team that moved, like kind of made like an internal move? I know this is technically going to be considered an external move, but somewhat internal move. Your Toronto Raptors, when they promoted Nick Nurse from an assistant head coach or whatever his title was to an NBA head coach, they made a move in Kawhi Leonard. Even the year after Kawhi Leonard left, he won Coach of the Year. You guys want a chip. So I mind seeing a move like that if they want to see complete change and maybe a complete different philosophy. I'm not familiar with Johnny Bryant, so I'm not going to sit here and say he's this pace and space guy or whatever he does, right? We did see a difference when Dwayne Casey left or got fired and we got Nick Nurse. You could know that perfectly. There was a difference.
Yeah.
There's a different
massive
style.
difference.
That could be a potential thing here as well. So for me, like if I'm rounding up my thing at the moment, it's like Johnny Bryant, Michael Malone, Taylor Jenkins, essentially, and Frank Vogel if you want to go super vet coach there as well.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, it's kind of obviously giving us the vibes of 2018, 2019 Toronto Raptors. 2018. No, am I missing? No,
2018-19.
2017, 2018 Raptors, where they had their best opportunity to win, with LeBron's Cavaliers being pretty ass. But,
and they made the
and they still made the finals.
And then
obviously
LeBron
getting
left.
swept by them and all that. Like, that was the best opportunity for the Toronto Raptors to obviously make it to the NBA finals. And obviously they blew it. And they made the coaching change. And they made the roster addition, right? It's kind of a similar situation to the Knicks. The Knicks had the best opportunity to make it to the NBA finals.
And next year is wide open.
And next year is still wide open. Yeah, like same with the Toronto Raptors. So I guess it is crucial to make a change because at the end of the day, it has been 4 playoff runs now for the New York Knicks, and obviously 4 ending in somewhat disappointing fashion. I'm giving them credit. Like at the end of the first 2, I'll give them, credit. They made it there, but the next 2, like at the end of the day, you shouldn't be losing the game 7 at MSG at home. I know they were injured, but at the end of the day, you had the chips in your favor still, and they did not get that done. There was no way you should have been down 0-2 this year, right? There's no excuse for that. And obviously, they fumbled the bag, right? It's not as bad as getting swept, like how the Raptors did that year, but it's kind of giving you similar vibes where they ruined their best opportunity. So changes at the end of the day need to happen even after Well, at the end of the day, you call it a great year because they made the conference finals, right?
They didn't exceed expectations, but they weren't under expectations.
Yeah, if you make the conference finals, you had a great year. Like at the end of the day, like that's how I'll describe in every sport, right? If you're a Final Four in any league, I will describe that as a great year.
But you got to make that step.
Yeah, you got to take the next step. And right now, something's holding them back. I don't know if that is, obviously, they're doing that with a head coaching fix. But like we're going to get into right now, something could be with the roster. And obviously bringing a guy like Kevin Durant, in my opinion, is obviously gives you another option of handling the ball and scoring other than Jalen. And mainly the scoring, not fully relying on Jalen Brunson. What I have been like saying for the last 2 years, and what my biggest concern was for New York Knicks is like they rely too much on Jalen Brunson offensively. And
like, listen, like they had Julius Randle. He obviously was fine like during the regular season. He was not Kevin Durant when it comes to playoff time. Kevin Durant, he joins his Knicks team. I'm not saying it becomes Kevin Durant's team realistically, but he becomes the best player. It's simple as the minute Kawhi Leonard walked into the Toronto Raptors dressing room, it may have been Kyle Lowry's team, but as Kawhi Leonard was the best player and he was the alpha. It's the same kind of vibe here if it is Kevin Durant. Again, not to make this about Kevin Durant. If they do not get Kevin Durant because Kevin Durant might have other options, right? They need to find someone that could be another scorer that could help. Listen, now the question is Karl Anthony Towns. There is a realistic option that those two could get traded for each other, Kevin Durant and Karl Anthony Towns. Karl Anthony Towns had a really good year offensively. The problem was what? His defense. So maybe they bring in a coach that could fit Karl Anthony Towns like with Jalen Brunson. They could find a different way and keep the current-ish roster. I'm not saying they're obviously not the OKC Thunder, but they have the defensive players that are like the OKC Thunder. We know that. But they probably have to move off of Mikal Bridges because he needs to get paid eventually as well. You already paid OG. Maybe Mikal stays because Jalen Brunson is the greatest friend in the world and took that the best contract he could ever have to help, right? And they're boys, right? So I'm looking at Karl Anthony Towns to see what can they do. Mitchell Robinson was really good for them in the playoffs. Right, he could be still your starter. So that can you get a guy that can be a scorer at the same level of Jalen Brunson or better? And obviously Kevin Durant makes sense. The reason why we're saying, but there's other. Like Sham said, this might be the greatest offseason ever, and we've seen great off seasons already in the NBA these last couple of years. Giannis is potentially available. Who knows what's gonna happen with that as well, right? Like he could probably fit here. Then you might keep Karl Anthony Towns. Who knows? I don't know, right? So they need to find a way to upgrade a roster a little bit, but they need to find a guy like Kevin Durant, in my opinion, that could help them take over the top the next year, aka this Toronto 2019 Raptors championship team right here. I realize it's not on camera, but you're right. Like obviously on the spot thinking, that's the type of vibe I'm getting from this Knicks team with how wide open the East is next year, regardless, because Philly could still come out of the blue and be good.
Yeah, who knows about that?
That's pretty much all my thoughts on this. I don't know if you want to continue.
That's pretty much it. Like the reason why we're bringing up Kevin Durant so much is because I'm really advocating a bona fide scorer and a guy who could at the end they create his own shot.
He's arguably the greatest scorer in history.
Yeah, he's arguably the greatest scorer in history, obviously. But like a guy like Kevin Durant who can handle the ball and create his own shot, right? The rest of the people on the Knicks roster need to get set up by a point guard, which is obviously Jalen Brunson. So his obviously usage rate goes up in terms of scoring and facilitating. But if you have a guy like Kevin Durant who could, be a bucket. So Brandon Ingram's also would have been a good example here if he was obviously available, because a guy, if he's healthy, who's able to be a pure scorer and create his own shot and not have Brunson create his opportunities is what the main thing I'm personally looking for in the Knicks upgrade.
But Kevin Durant is a different breed still.
But yeah, obviously Kevin Durant is a different breed.
As you mentioned, we kept talking about Kevin Durant. That's just us foreshadowing that one of our upcoming videos will be a Kevin Durant video and what happens in this trade market. So make sure you guys hit that subscribe button and do not miss that video, and hit that post notification bell as well. We also gave our predictions for the NBA Finals. That video is popping up now. We'll catch you guys over there, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.
Peace.